Welcome in, everybody. It is Monday, October 21st, 2024, and we had to reschedule this live stream due to my mistake, but we made it happen, long story short. So I'm sure you guys all know who this is, but we are going to talk to him for about an hour or so, and welcome in, Eddie.
Thank
also
you.
known as Vibes Aquatics. So, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty good. I mean, I'm overworked, underpaid, and overtired.
Always the case, right?
Right?
Work too hard and always can't get enough money. That always seems to be the case.
Yeah. Oh well.
But it is all good.
How are you this evening?
I'm doing swell. I had a pretty relaxing day today. Spent time with the family and did water changes, so it was pretty chill today for me.
Nice.
And then the family and I were going to be going to an indoor water park for the next couple of days. So we'll be leaving for a couple of days on that. So should be fun.
Indoor water park. I never been to one of those.
We went to one before, and our daughter, she was a little young, and now she's a little bit older. I think she's going to enjoy it a lot more this time around. So I'm looking forward to it.
Nice.
But for all the people who are coming in, welcome in. We got Henry in here, Aquarium Fantasy, Fathom. We got Stephen P. So it's good to see you guys all rolling in here. So I'd like to start out, Eddie, with for anyone who doesn't know you, and that way I always like to kind of get things going for the first 15, 20 minutes so the people that watch the replay and that want to know my special guests and stuff, we can kind of get that sort of in the beginning. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started the hobby and where you're at so far.
All right. To start off, I'm here in my recliner inside of my fish room. I'm relaxed talking to Joe. My hobby started. Hey, I'm Eddie, Vibes Aquatics. If you don't know, my hobby started back. My aquarium hobby. It was probably about 4 or 5 years ago. Got really deep into it. But the backstory is my uncle on my mom's side, the one that passed away when I was about 3 months old. Everybody tells me I'm exactly like him. I'm like his, what do you call it, the doppelganger. They won't say it like that, even though he's my uncle. They said I look like him, I sound like him, my hobbies are exactly like him. They said basically Eddie took his uncle's hobby and kept going with it.
Nice.
My uncle kept goldfish of all sorts, piranhas.
You say piranhas?
Piranhas, yeah. The one piranha he had would not eat on camera, or on camera it was sketchy, but in person it would not eat at all. Never.
Huh, that's bizarre.
So my uncle went and put up one of his video recorders up, set it up, and was able to catch it, snap at the food and hide. It was really weird.
That is crazy.
And what's interesting, my uncle was also into videography.
Okay.
He was doing content back. This is back in the 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
He was doing content on the big video camera.
That's insane.
That's pretty dope.
He did actual so YouTube wasn't around back then. So how would he do content creation and stuff? What would he do?
It was on tapes, the little not VCR.
The little cassette, that goes into the VCR sort of thing. That's really old school, man.
Yeah. It's pretty dope. Actually, my mom still has some of those in boxes sitting around.
I think my parents did for a while, but they eventually were able to take it to one of those old school shops and move them onto a disc. But that's really old school, my friend.
Yeah.
Cool.
So now, of course, back then, the availability of knowledge wasn't out back then. So I never picked up, how to take care of your fish, etc. So when I got into really deep about 5 years ago, it was basically starting from scratch. Even though back when I was a kid, I kept a bluegill, sunfish, not an outdoor, a wash tub, no oxygen, no water changes. It was weird that they even survived how long they did.
That is pretty crazy. Yeah, whenever I was a kid too, I never knew anything about water changes and taking care of fish, and I was like, well, I wonder why my fish always died all the time.
Right. Yep. And down from that's probably back when I was 4 or 5. We lived in a house. We had a pond out back, but only time I was allowed to go out there is when either my dad or my uncles were around, and we were fishing. Catch a sunfish, take it, put a bucket.
Yep. Yeah, we've always done that as kids too. We've always went fishing as well, and it was mostly like bass, bluegill. I might do some perch and walleye here and there, but
right.
I kind of grew up in the fishing area too. So
nice. And then when I was probably about 9, we moved about 15 minutes away to another place that we actually built a house. Anyways, down from our house, about 8th mile, there was a natural creek that ran through the property.
Okay.
Anyway, but looking back, it seemed like every day I was down at the creek. I was out there collecting. Even back then, I didn't know what I was doing. I was actually collecting stuff. I didn't know that then.
You were an outdoorsman.
Crawfish, minnows, any kind of fish out there, I would catch and put in a bucket, take home, and put it in a wash tub or something. Actually, you know what? Most of my viewers don't even know about this. So this is a backstory. Some of you already know about.
Fantastic. That's very kind of you to bring all this up. So, it's interesting.
And then to feed them, instead of going to the fish store or to Walmart or to your Family Dollar that had fish food, I actually went and dug up worms to feed them.
I did that too. I think that's whenever I went fishing and stuff, like I always try to dug up my own worms as well, because they weren't as used or as I guess readily available back in the day.
And it's kind of gross, but the best for digging up worms back then was beneath a cow pie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
take cow pie off and dig down. And for a while there, I had a worm catcher, which I didn't know that's what it was. I made a box with a lid, and I had worms in there. I feed the worms. I had dirt, sawdust. I would layer. I had a worm farm going in our outdoor kitchen.
Really?
Which is it's kind of disgusting having them in that environment in the house. But hey, my parents kind of hey, have at it, So
that's perfect then. So you were kind of like always outdoors, out in the outdoor kitchen, taking care of your fish, and even back then, you just kept learning and kept going, kept doing your thing.
Which is, I guess I need to write a book about all that, because that's it.
That's on your next goal sheet. That's on your to-do list.
Yeah, it's been an interesting story. And more think about it now, like wow, I knew more back then than I realized. Even though I didn't think I knew what I was doing,
So you've been in this fish keeping hobby for a long time then.
Yeah.
If you technically speaking with your backstory, I mean it shows.
But then I was probably about 12, 13 years old. My hobby kind of dropped for a while there, and I was all into hardcore fishing. Literally, I was out fishing bass, bluegill, catfish, anything I could catch. I was hardcore. And everybody knew me as a fisherman. And during that time of my life,
we did a lot of fishing too.
I actually ate the fish back then. Bring them home, skin them, eat them.
Yeah. When growing up, whenever we were like teenagers, I kind of got out of like the fish keeping hobby, and kind of like what you, as you got older, it was more about just fishing. My dad, had boats and stuff, and he still has one, but we would always go out and fish for whatever we could. We'd go to Lake Erie and mostly walleye and perch and that sort of thing. And we'd always eat them as well. Then I got it. And after I moved out of my folks' house and went on my own, I got my own boat and did the same thing. Got fish and just ate them, cooked them.
Right. And that's probably about 18 or 19. It was always back when I was it 4th grade, 5th grade? I was supposed to write a story. And I wrote a dream story of my future. It was to go out and buy a bass boat and go fishing all the time. And guess what happened? That came true.
It did.
I was about 18 or 19. There was a bass boat local to me that was really good price. It wasn't brand new and like that, but it had like 150 horsepower motor on the back. So, anyways, me and my brothers, we would go out by every weekend and went fishing.
See, that's even
So,
better because when you can get a buddy or a brother
mhm.
or one of your good friends of yours and go out every weekend and do fishing. It's very relaxing. It's very therapeutic. Even if it's not a
Right.
whole lot of catching, it's just out in the lake and out in the wilderness. It's just that feeling of being out there. It's nice.
Right. Right. Now, of course, this boat it was made for fishing and fun. So it had like a pole in the back for tubing or skiing. So of course we
Oh
get
yeah.
rid of that, while we were out there.
How long of a boat was it?
18 foot.
Okay,
So
that's
it
pretty
wasn't
good
massive.
size then. That's still good size even for fishing. I mean, enough to put a few people on there and have a good time.
Mm-hmm. It had a trolling motor up front. It had like 2 fish finders. It had a live well up front and the back. It had an ice chest.
See, that's perfect.
It was decked out. The guy
That's
who had
cool.
it for me, the reason he was selling it because he said he was getting too old to use it regularly.
Okay.
And it kind of scared him to take it out by himself. So.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's
awesome,
then I moved to Texas, and I had it down here for several years. We used it.
Okay.
But then that hobby kind of dropped, and there was more into keeping them in glass boxes at that time.
And MTS started to settle in.
Yep. So that's when I sold the boat. Basically, what I put into it, which is crazy. Anyways, I sold it. Then that money went into my aquariums. So now today, okay, I started 1 aquarium, then 2 aquariums. I got to about, was it like 30 aquariums I had in my fish room.
Holy smoke.
I had 3 saltwater aquariums. The rest were all fresh. I had like 4 outdoor ponds, a big 1,000-gallon pond in ground, a couple smaller ponds here and there. From goldfish to bluegill to bass, koi. I would breed them and sell them, Now, being up today, I've kind of downsized to 20 gallons now. I mean, not 20 gallons.
Your 20 tanks? Yeah. I was like, wow, you went really quick. You went really small to 20 gallons.
that would be really cool.
That would be the biggest downsizing I would ever see.
Yeah. Now, the goal was to hit 10 tanks is the goal. I'm down to 19 now. So I might hit it.
Yeah, well, we'll see what's in the works for me as well. Right now, I'm kind of running steady on almost 30 tanks down here. But I guess in a nutshell, I was kind of running the option of getting rid of all the smaller tanks and running with just bigger tanks and have another, wall of just bigger tanks. But we'll see. I'm still running my fry operation, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's hard to downsize to bigger tanks when you have fry.
Yeah, especially when I'm probably gonna eventually get to the chance where I can make a small amount of profit to my local fish stores, whoever's like friends of mine that want to get in the hobby. But when you're spending so much time with them, and almost like you kind of feel bad they're getting rid of them because you spent so much time and effort to raise them, from an egg, to a fry and all the way up to where they're at now.
Right.
But I get it.
Since you mentioned that, I was doing a lot of breeding back then and selling. I wish I would have kept some of the babies, because that would have been kind of cool, but I didn't. I should have.
I think that's one of the reasons why I brought up to my wife the other day that when we were talking about different things down here, and I don't think I could ever get myself to get rid of every single small fish in here, because there's like a part of me that if I were to go from these smaller tanks to the big tanks, that I would take some of these small fish that I've literally grown myself and make one tank, and I could explain to somebody, it would have to be like a big tank of everything that I've raised. And it would be so neat to tell people, say, hey, none of these fish have been bought. They've all been raised by myself. And that would be kind of like an accomplishment for me that I've raised them all the way up from that. So we'll see. That's far into the future at the moment, but that's kind of one thing I've thrown out there as an option.
Right. Now, about a year ago is when I kind of stopped. For a while there, everybody knew me as a rescuer. People would call me up middle of the night. Hey, our tanks have crashed. Would you come rescue it? I would get up, get my buckets, my nets, my gloves, and head out. And I did. I don't know how many tank sets I tore down. I moved fish here, moved fish there. Actually, a lot of my ventosas are rescues. I picked up here and there. The
Oh,
loaches the same
really?
way.
Like, are they
Pound
rescued
loaches.
from other people's houses or?
Yeah,
Okay.
houses, ponds, anything that wasn't an aquarium, basically. I'd rescue from saltwater equipment, saltwater fish, corals, anything that people needed to be home. But
That's
here's
cool.
a little con of that story. During that time, I was sick all the time for no reason at all, just out of the blue, being sick. My health went downhill really fast over that time. I was doing a lot of running here, running there, working.
Yep.
On a little sleep that wasn't good. And I was getting infections and stuff like that on my
Oh,
body.
wow.
Yeah.
So you were not in a good, health state then.
No, I was not.
Wow.
A lot of it, I think, was due was undersleep, and also I was getting in people's aquariums and ponds that were not in good condition at all. They had a lot of bacteria, more than
Okay.
the average aquarium should have. So I was getting in that situation like every day, and
So
my
you
body wasn't
probably
able to
weren't
keep
like,
it up.
you think you might have gotten that from those different aquariums that were
Yeah.
not in a good state then.
Right.
That's crazy. I never
Mhm.
thought of that. If you were to ever create a business to take care of fish tanks, kind of like at a relative store to what you just said,
Right.
you never think about that. You just want to say,
Mhm.
oh, I want to, save these fish, or I want to move these out of your, out of your hobby so we can move into a
Right.
better place. So that's crazy.
So if y'all think about doing that, be very careful.
Yeah.
Now,
That's a good note.
if you do one a month or one a year, it probably won't not affect you. But if you do it every week, every time you're off work, for me, it
Yeah.
ruined me. So
Yep. Especially if you have a bad day at work or something, you go and do that.
Right.
It just kind of like doesn't help the situation.
Right.
You just. Yeah, I usually do a majority of my fish stuff, water changes and take everything on most of the time of my days off work. So that way I have plenty of time to do what I want to do, and I'm not going to be in a rush, and I might not do something, or I may do something that might potentially, harm the fish or harm the tank. So it's better to do it on an off day.
Mm-hmm. Now, you probably know this, but I doing my maintenance on a live stream, which is probably kind of dope.
You say that again?
I was just saying, a lot of my maintenance I do, not a lot, but some of it is on a live stream.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to start like doing that now. It's kind of interesting to watch. I think the hardest part as a content creator is being able to keep up with the chat while doing it.
Right.
That's probably the biggest challenge, and not overfilling your tank.
Yeah. So far, I have not done it yet on camera. I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I haven't either. I've only done maybe like a select couple maintenance days on camera, but
yeah,
I've only overfilled a tank one time, and it was down here, and that wasn't even on camera. It was just getting distracted, and it happens. But thankfully, it's only happened once, and it was very minor. So
right. And talking about that, I need to communicate with Degenerate Fishkeeper, or not Degenerate, the guy who live streams every Sunday morning, Jason, about what platform he uses to do his content live streams, because he has an automated voice that reads the chat for him.
Okay, what's his channel name?
I know his old channel name.
Okay,
he went and switched it.
Does he still do the daily morning shows then, or
every Sunday morning he does it?
Every Sunday morning. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, someone in the chat know what Jason's channel is. Every Sunday morning. There you go. Jeff Kane.
Unknown. Is that what it is?
Yep.
Okay. Then I will have to. I'll write that one down, and after the stream, I'll have to look that up and see if I can get in on that.
Yeah. Thanks,
Jeff
Kane.
There's always something new in a live stream, so I always get my notepad ready just in case.
Right. Yeah, I got my phone right here that I use. I use a notepad on my phone. So yeah.
Yep. Always something handy. We always seem to learn something new. I mean, just like my last live stream with Brandon, we all learned quite a bit with a bunch of plant stuff. So it was nice to get to know him a little bit and what he does with his aquarium. So I mean, with everybody else, with all the live streams coming up, with yours, we've learned a little bit about your past, and we're getting to other people's channels, and I'm sure it's going to be more information to know in the future for us. So
yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah, and also before I forget, I do want to say thanks for inviting me up here. This is awesome.
Yeah, you're welcome. I've been trying to get myself out there to do more live streams with people. Sometimes when I was doing Friday night hangouts and it was just me, it was still good. But after I was doing it several times in a row, I started running out of things to talk about. And I was like, all right, I got to start bringing some guests in here to help keep the things, and the vibes flowing.
Did you hear that? The vibes.
You see what I did there?
I saw that. I saw that. He's trying to steal my logo.
We'll see about that.
You might have to try harder.
Yeah, I got to work on that a little bit. I'm a little rusty, so we'll see what the future holds.
And for those who don't know, that sign behind me, that's my logo, by the way.
Yeah, where did you get that at?
I got it made by a lady up in Dallas, Texas. She's an artist.
And she makes those signs for a living then, or is it like a hobby that she does other things as well? Okay.
It's a hobby, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I've been wanting to get like a neon sign myself. And did you have that like custom made, or is it something that you could just pick from and then put your name in?
It was totally custom. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Does she have a website, or is it like a local business?
She's on Facebook.
Okay.
Let's see if I can find her website. Knowing me, it's gonna take me a while to find her page. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, if it does, then you can always shoot me a message after the live stream if you find it. You don't feel too obligated at the moment. But I really liked it though, because I've always, whenever I watch your live stream, that was like one of the things I always liked is that sign for that frontosa. I mean, I wouldn't like go in there and get the same thing with my name on it, because I'd be stealing your thunder, stealing your vibes.
Hey, it's okay.
Yeah, we were talking about like getting different types of banners, and I don't know if it was Brandon that told me, or no, it was somebody else on someone else's live stream. I think it was Jim's from Happy Place Aquatics. He had someone live on his stream, and he had got his banner just on Etsy, I think it was. Yeah. And I was like, really? I was like, I thought you might have to like know a business or and I looked it up. I was like, wow, that's actually not that expensive.
Yeah.
So
now this, since it was custom made, it was still. I actually told her that her prices on the low end. She needs to put the prices up, because the quality that she does in my book, it fits with all the other artists out there that paint and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
It's phenomenal. So
that's awesome.
You know what? Let's see if I just found her page. I'm trying to see if I can share. I can't share in the chat, can I?
I don't know. You can make an attempt, and if not, you could always send it to me on Instagram.
I put it on the link, but nope. I don't think it worked. I don't think. But no, I can send it to you on Instagram later. But yeah,
sounds savvy to me. So how's all your fish doing? Have you they happy and healthy and nothing traumatic, too detrimental by any means?
In the past year, the most traumatic experience I've had in the past year, for those who don't know, the tank behind me, that tank was a Tropheus tank setup.
Okay.
And it was a colony of 9 Tropheus adult ones. There was a red Kasaga.
Oh, yeah.
You know that? Yeah. Very beautiful. Anyways, about was it 2 months ago? I don't know how long ago it was now. I had there was a lightning strike out here, and I lost power.
That's unfortunate.
I was sad. I wasn't home at the time.
That's even worse.
Yeah. So I lost all of them. My bluegill out my pond. I had probably 30 of them out there. Lost all those. The koi, surprising, made it through.
Oh wow,
these guys made it through. The Pontosas there,
that's
which
fantastic.
is weird. It blows my mind why they died and the other ones didn't. Yeah,
That is crazy. I wonder, like, if Frontosa, if they're a pretty strength, if they can kind of last a long time, without oxygen. I mean, I don't know how durable they are, like goldfish, I guess, per se.
Right.
I don't know.
But I wouldn't try it, y'all. Not try it at home.
Definitely wouldn't. Yeah, definitely wouldn't try it home for sure.
I came home to Now, maybe I should have posted it on my channel, a video about it, but I was too heartbroken about it.
That would be a killer for me too. That was always my fear, but knock on wood that we don't lose power a whole lot in my area. I actually live kind of close to the city. Long story short, I used to live in a city about 4 or 5 years ago, and I swear we lost power like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But here, it's like it never happens here. Even on like the strongest storms that we've had, we might have lost power for maybe like 10 minutes, and that was it. So, but that's always like one of my worst fears is like if I were to lose power, then that's like a majority of the fish tanks down here.
Yeah.
I would have to do some major fish movement. If I was at the house and lost power and we didn't get anything back, I would have to like shove a lot of fish in places where they don't want to go until we get power.
Right.
So
I agree with Mexicali. That's why I'm going filterless. That way I don't have to worry about outages.
Yep, and that's a smart move. I mean, that's a very good alternative, especially when it comes to a point like if you live in a spot to where power goes out frequently in your area, then that would be the way to go for sure. Right. And even Flying Mouse says that he loses power a lot, so you always need to have that backup. And I feel like if you want to be an aquarist or a fish keeping hobby, you wouldn't be able to have a lot of the fish tanks or multi-tank syndrome, because if you lost power all the time, you would be constantly thinking about what do I need to do, and that's probably where Jorge Mexicali is kind of going to filterless, which makes total sense. Right.
And now the next option is to have a generator.
That's what my mom just said. That's one thing that I'm probably I really should get into, at some point. Even if it was like a small generator,
right?
I could at least run my fridge, and then I would at least be able to keep my air pump running that supplies all my sponge filters for the basement down here.
Right.
So that's something that I'm probably going to be getting in the near future.
Right. Since you mentioned that, I need to set my fish room up in a way that each tank has a sponge filter. That way, if I do lose power or whatever, I have a generator. That way I can run an air pump and be okay,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what Jesse, he's thanks for coming in, by the way. He says generator all day. Since sometimes if you're like a homeowner though, I feel like it's one of those items that you almost have to have, because you just never know when you're going to need something and you don't have any power. And I'd rather buy and not need it than need it and not have it, and then have to go buy one and they're all out of stock because everyone's rushing to go get one.
Right.
So
now I thought about getting an adapter for my vehicle, at least for now, for backup, emergency. Because even with the vehicle, you should be okay for a while,
Yeah, I would think most of them. I think the smaller fish tanks you may not be. I don't know if. Well, let me ask you this question. You might know the answer to this. Does it matter the volume of the tank if the fish in there will last longer, or does that not even have an effect on it? If you were to lose power,
it depends on the fish in the tank. If you have
That's
big fish,
what I was thinking too.
The bigger the fish, the more oxygen that they need.
Yeah.
So the bigger ones are going to die first, usually.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess like the little ones you don't need as much. So yeah, that makes total sense.
Now, and that's why most of my I have a guppy tank, a molly tank, and those do not have any oxygen to it at all.
Okay.
So those are on their own. occasionally I'll do a top off, and that's it. And of course, I feed them. That's it.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
No water changes.
Jesse was saying that battery backup systems are expensive and don't last long enough, and might as well put the money into a generator and a gas generator probably. But yeah. But go ahead. Sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
No, you're good. I kind of backing off what George said earlier about the filterless, whatever. But
yeah,
if we kind of could get to a point to have my aquariums all self-sustaining.
Okay.
That way, if something does happen, like well, whatever, it doesn't bother my fish, you know.
Yep. And that's nice. I think it's nice to have that backup or that knowing that everything's going to be fine, even if you do lose power, especially being away from the house.
Right. Now, if I'm at home, you know, big deal. I'll have buckets, and you know, I'll do my own, you know, oxygen exchange, whatever.
Yeah, you can do that technically. Fish Nerd says what Fish Nerd is saying is the biggest thing is water surface area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree on that. That makes sense.
So you had like a power head that you could plug it, run off a battery. Perfect.
Yeah, just it really doesn't take much. Just buy a few power heads and put them where they need to go. I think that was kind of one of the reasons why, you know, once I started getting all these fish tanks downstairs, it was like one of those things to where like it'd be nice to have a backup generator and just be able to run it outside whenever if I need to, so that way I can keep everything alive at least.
Right.
But
and y'all, talking about oxygen, it does not hurt to have extra oxygen in your tank. It doesn't hurt.
Nope. Jesse said his red tail shark somehow got itself into my Ciche Nano, mind you, and tore him up. Holy smoke. Sorry to hear about that, Jesse.
Wow.
Hydroponic, thanks for coming in. Molly fry. That's always a thing in my molly tank.
Nice.
Yeah. Always good to have molly fry.
Talking about mollies, I do have a 300-gallon water trough outside for the sylphin mollies.
Well, that's good.
And the sylphin mollies are the ones I've got local collected.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. How'd that happen?
I mean, that I collected them or what?
Yeah.
I did it on purpose. I went because someone told me that we have them here local. So of course,
that's good.
I went out with my waders. This was like in January and February of this year.
Okay.
I had my dip net. I went out there and caught them. For a while there, I had some outside, but also I had a tent set up right here, right on the edge of the camera. Anyways, and they had babies like there's no tomorrow. It was cool.
Yeah, that's one thing about mollies and guppies. Like you can never have enough because they just keep reproducing so fast, and you don't even realize it until you find 5 or 4 in the bottom, and then a week later you find 4 or 5 more. And
right. And me personally, I actually enjoy these wild ones over the store-bought ones.
Yep.
There's something about that perfection, if we'll say it like that. Because the ones that are the strongest are the ones that are going to survive.
Yep.
So it's kind of cool. It's kind of dope. The male
I've actually had better luck just having molly fry myself. Every time I've gone to buy mollies at the store, I mean, granted, I had to buy mollies to begin with, obviously, but I mean, since they've reproduced so many times, like I hardly have any of these things die, like at all, right. And they're still growing and they're healthy and they've lived through just about anything.
Yeah. Yeah. For those that don't know, Fishon.link, they have that's one of the best hobby bred fish out there, y'all.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Jesse said he had no idea how he got up in that power head. That's unfortunate. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
Back to this one. He said, All Things Nature says he loves mollies and he keeps them in his saltwater tanks. I have never seen a molly in a saltwater tank. Have you, Eddie?
Yep. I actually used to have them back when I had my 3 setups, the saltwater tank.
That's crazy. So Hydroponics said he's got mollies or swordtails and guppies. So could you put swordtail and guppies in a saltwater tank too, or not so much?
Probably.
That would be, I mean, anything's possible. And
yeah.
Whether, but
And me personally, I haven't done it yet, but Molly's I have. But yeah,
Okay.
it's a slow process, a drip acclimation. So
I would assume, because I think that would be a major shock for them.
if you do a slow enough gradual drip acclimation to it, it might be in a couple of days. You know.
That's
Hey,
pretty
Mike, look at Austin.
Hey, what's going on? I haven't seen him in a little bit. Welcome in.
Yeah, he's my local buddy.
As Jesse says, at any rate, the power had been impounded and the insurance company is investigating the accident. You just have to go to court. What's up, Dad?
Uh-oh.
My mom actually had to help. Now. Yeah. My mom had to help him find his way in. But all things nature said guppies can but wouldn't do it. I don't know. That's the first time I ever heard Molly's be in a fish tank. Or I'm sorry, Molly's in a saltwater tank.
in a fish tank. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Fish Nerd says guppies and swordtails will survive a while, but not long. So seems like Molly's are the way to go if you ever would decide to put them in a saltwater tank.
Yeah. Actually, my local fish store here about 20 minutes from me, they actually have them regularly for sale in the saltwater section.
That's cool.
And they'll actually breed and have babies as well in the saltwater. It's pretty dope.
That is pretty sweet. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I could test that theory out whenever I decide to get my first saltwater tank with a couple clownfish and a sea anemone and see if a couple mollies will do well in it.
Yeah. Me personally, I've seen both freshwater and salt. I go rather molly. Mm-hmm. I think the mollies in the saltwater setup look more beautiful than the freshwater. So maybe it's the salt content is making different. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be.
Hey, Mandy.
Mandy's in. Thanks for coming in. Mandy's one of the moderators I have on this channel. And if Jose, I think I made him a moderator last time he was in here. Yep. Joy Fishkeeping and Jesse. So thanks for coming in, Mandy. I appreciate it. There's for anyone who doesn't know Vibes Aquatics, that's his channel. But I think a majority of us know who Eddie is, and it's all of us has got to know him quite a bit through his lives and
through his lives. You hear that?
Yeah, his vibe. So, how long have you been on YouTube, Sir Eddie?
Is it 4 years? 4 years now? 3.5? Okay. I don't know. That actually was active. Now, back when I started, it took me like a year and a half, about 2 years before anybody even found me. So I was basically nobody.
It was now. Did you have anyone? We talked about this on my last live stream, and with Branton, and he had some a buddy of his kind of help him get going with his YouTube channel, and I was telling him for me that I had to do everything myself. Like it was just one of those ideas that I had, and I was literally just going from scratch and learning on the fly and making my first video, and then that was nerve-wracking, but I eventually got used to it. And then my first live, it was kind of like figuring everything out. So I was literally putting my feet in the water for everything. So was that kind of how you started your live on YouTube and everything, or did you have help?
No, actually, I was on the verge of just backing out of YouTube thing. I had only like 20 subscribers at the time, but I met Mike, All Things Fish. Is that his channel? Up there in Pennsylvania.
Ooh.
Anyways, I met him at Aquashella a couple years ago. Anyways, the first time, and he told me, hey, he just started out like a year or so before that. Said, hey, just keep going, and that kind of took me to the next level. I thought, oh, okay, I'll stick with it a little bit longer yet.
Well, that's good.
And what much after that, I found the fish fam.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met up with Milko Austin or Mike, and between me and him, we would meet up at his fish room, meet up at the taco barbecue coffee shop every Saturday afternoon, and we just hanged out. That's where we kind of played with the live stream thing. So
I
think the first one I was on my own, but after that, it kind of like we were playing with it, you know. So I had some help to figure it out.
Yeah, it seems like your main live streams right now, you have quite a few people in there, and so a lot of them are like regulars and stuff. I kind of pop in and out here and there between your live streams and stuff. So it seems like you got a good group going, regular
Kind of
group.
weird.
But Fish Nerd says, like you were saying about the mollies, like for saltwater, you got to get that drip acclimation.
Yeah.
So yep. But
And
yeah, that I like I said, I just started everything on my own. No help whatsoever.
right.
It was very nerve-wracking.
The help I did have, none of us knew how to do it. So we were all learning, basically what we did, we went on StreamYard backstage, and Local Austin was on backstage, Scar Aquatics was backstage.
Yeah.
Wait, there's a button. This is what happens. I hit the button. Okay, it does that. Hit this button. Okay, it does that. I'm just playing with it,
Have you always stuck with StreamYard, or have you like kind of messed around with other streaming platforms and then just liked StreamYard as a whole, or?
But yeah, I've tried out quite a few different platforms, but none of them was as easy for me as StreamYard. So that's why I kind of stuck with StreamYard. And now where I'm at now, it's so convenient. I go in there, it's ready set up. I hit go live. It's very simple for me.
It's kind of one of those things. That's kind of how I feel too. That it's been a lot more user friendly for my experience, and I've messed with OBS a little bit.
Yeah.
But I feel like OBS, there's like a huge learning curve to it. So
Yes.
I still have it on my computer, but I just haven't gone back to it yet.
Right.
Plus, it's nice to be able to bring the chats up and read everyone's messages and stuff, especially with something that's like a key point that you want. It's nice to be able to bring that up and talk about it. Whereas OBS, you really can't do that unless you learn to bring up multiple windows and kind of view the chat. That's the only way I figured to do it. But so what is your future plans for the fish hobby? You said, are you going to continue to downgrade to less tanks, or is that your plan? Are you still going to get more fish as new fish? Or are you going to just stay with what you have? Or
the future goal is to downsize, but the ones I do have left, to basically make them perfect and add like aquaponics to them, to most of them, like an above sub aquaponics system, like a dual bed, and use that as my filtration.
Okay.
Most of my tanks. And that way, I can also put veggies in there, like lettuce, kale, carrots, and that way I can have my own fresh veggies there. So that's kind of my future.
I had a live stream once and we were talking about all these different foods that people are giving them their fish, like everything from like cucumbers, zucchini, lettuce and stuff like that, especially for like the imbunas. People put all, like Jesse might know about this too, with his imbunas, that he's probably fed them different, human foods as well. And it was just kind of blowing my mind, the things that people were feeding these fish. And I was like, wow, I never heard about that. So it's like I said, every time I go on live stream, I learn something new.
Yeah. And if for those who don't know, Vibes is trying to be a DIY on a budget.
Vibes DIY on a budget, like a stand, like a tank stand?
No, everything in the hobby.
Okay. So this is going to be like a multiple episode. So you're going to be having like a series, maybe.
Maybe.
That could be an idea.
Jim.
Thanks for coming in, Jim. I appreciate it.
And hey, here's a side note also. I tried, now most of you watch the content, already know this, but I try to show you exactly how it is and not put on a fake. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I like doing stuff that way too, just because I'm a detailed person. So I like to know like the inside scoop about everything, to know about how someone does something and why they did it this way and why it works for them. And since Jim is here, it just reminds me of that it's your hobby, do it your way. That's kind of his channel thing. But it really does come down to that. And it's really nice to be able to get to know someone's hobby and see how they do it. And then you can kind of relate in a sense and say, well, we'll see if that works. And if it doesn't, you can kind of take bits and pieces of information, like say if what you're doing for a DIY on a budget, people can take bits and pieces of what you're doing and implement it into their hobby. And I think that's why it makes it so good for this to be in this hobby, is being on this social platform of YouTube.
Right.
We all help each other out.
And since you mentioned the social platform, So far, I really haven't seen any other content creators on the in the hobby that do the live streams in a recliner.
In the what?
In a recliner.
Oh yeah, yeah. I really haven't either.
I guess it's too much vibey, huh?
You got it.
Uh-huh.
But everyone has their thing. I mean, there's always like I think that's one thing that kind of separates the fish hobby from like having like pets. And you always have like every fish has a personality and every tank has its own presentation. You can personalize it the way you want to. With other pets, I did a live stream just on myself, and we were talking about the differences between owning pets and owning fish, and it was actually pretty productive. But it's just kind of neat how the fish hobby alone, it has a lot of work involved, but at the end of the day, when all that work is done, you kind of it's like a sense of satisfaction that yes, I did this and I made this work out for myself. So I think it's kind of like a rewarding hobby and a pet to own.
Right.
It's a whole different world as opposed to owning different pets and hobbies. I mean, it's got its own little niche, its own little thing.
Yeah, it is a very small niche.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the hardest thing too. Like when you're talking about more about social media and content, is that fish keeping is not really like the hype of what's out there right now between content creators, but if you want to be popular, you would have to start like back when YouTube first started. And that's where like the big channels came in. And of course, that's why they're doing well for themselves in a sense, because they started when YouTube started. Whereas we only started, like you said, like 4 or 5 years ago, you said.
Yeah.
So I only started like a couple years ago, a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I started the fish keeping hobby like a few years ago. So it's like, technically I'm still pretty new. So that's why whenever I'm going on these live streams, I'm still learning things as I'm going along. So,
but your channel definitely blew up. That's good.
Yeah, it's getting there. I wasn't expecting to get over 1,000 subscribers, but I finally made it. So it's doing all right. I don't have as many as you, but maybe one day I'll be vibing.
Yeah. So since you're monetized, does that affect on how you make content?
No, I don't know. I'm still doing the same thing that I've always done. The only thing that's changed is I'm trying to do more live stuff. I think that's about the only thing, because it's hard to keep up with the watch hours because it's based on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
So that changes all the time. So I think that's the hardest part.
For some reason, I never struggled with that, the watch hours. Even from day one. I don't know why. The part I struggled with most was the subscribers. But yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I haven't gotten the watch hours yet, and it seems to be like bouncing around. Like I'm about like 500 watch hours away, I think. I think I have like, actually I can look real quick. I've been bouncing around. I have 3,500 public watch hours out of the 4,000, and I've kind of been bouncing around back and forth. So it's just like, I think that's kind of like one of the things, like when you asked that question, has it changed how you make content? I think that's probably the only thing that I've tried to get up to, just so I can try to maintain the 4,000 and see if I can. But other than that, I'm still doing my normal thing, and I'm still doing the best that I can. And it really hasn't I'm not like a real promoter. Like I make videos here and there, but I'm not going to be like, that's all I care about is promoting in a business, because I have a job, I have family, I have a regular thing I do in life. So this is just a hobby still for me, so this is just something for fun. And I'm basically here on YouTube. And I've always said this from the start, that I'm here to share my experiences with everybody else and learn together. That's my main reasons for being here. So that's my main reason, and it'll always be my main reason.
That's awesome.
Yep. I wanted to run up here to a fish nerd that says, find us veteran hobbyists and pick up our brains. Who else here? Fish Nerd seems to know is so I'm going back to this comment again. So he must have been around the hobby for a while then. Is that what I'm understanding correctly?
Huh. I don't know.
It's nice to be able to go on like people who's been in the hobby for like 30 years and have a conversation with them, and you found out all sorts of information from them and you learn from them as well. Like when I went to the House Cichlid Association, there was a lot of people there that had a lot of useful information, and it was like I learned a lot just from going to that place alone. And I think that's the point that he was saying, that it's nice to be able to pick their brains and see what you can get out of them and learn from them. And I think that's a really useful tool. Oh, so all right. So there's the follow-up then. Since he was a teen, over half a century now. So there you go. So I know where to go to if I need some questions.
Yeah.
Or at least to one of them. So thanks. Well, my future, like I said, I brought up the idea of possibly downsizing as well, but at this time, I'm still raising the fish up, and I think my oldest ones currently are probably about 6-7 months old, or raised up from the start. So I've been doing this fry operation for probably like 6-7 months now. This fish room's been complete. So, I mean, yeah. We'll see what the future holds, but all I know is if I don't start making a plan for putting these fish in different tanks, whether that be here or at my local fish store, or eventually start my own business to start selling them, these fish are going to start to outgrow me. So,
right. Yep.
It is a thing. Thanks for coming in, Atkins.
Atkins!
And then Fish Nerd says, I can remember what the color dirt used to be.
Yep.
Uh-huh. But is there anything else, Eddie, that you would like to share with everyone? Because we're getting close to the hour now. And I don't want to take up too much of your time or anybody else's. But is there anything else in closing that you would like to share with everyone to and even you can ask me something because I can't think of anything else. I think we've gone through most of what I wanted to. Oh, we were going to talk about aqua shallot before we go too. But before we do that, is there anything else that you want to share with us for the future of your fish room, and anything else you feel the need to go right ahead? And if not, we can move on.
If you all ever want to do YouTube or social media as a whole, content creation, just do it. Just put a video out and try it and see how it goes. If it don't go, it's okay. If it does go, treat it like it's a hobby and not your job. And don't be disappointed when you don't get views or you have comments below the video that are nasty. Don't get discouraged. It's going to happen. The more nasty comments.
Yep.
Go ahead. The more comments are nasty that you get, that means you do something right. Because the ones that people that see people that are progressing, it hurts them.
Yep. And it's interesting you bring that up, because I actually thought about this today, because I had it was the first like rude comment that I've had in probably over a year. And like the best thing to do is just to take it out. I mean, move on. I mean, you can't let that stuff bother you. I mean, it's social media. You're going to have that every now and then, and it is what it is. You could be the best person out there, and there's someone that's still not going to like what you're doing. But like you said perfectly, it's a hobby, and you're supposed to enjoy it and share it with the world if you can. And if you want to start doing content creation, there's always a starting point. It never hurts to try something new. So that's very good points that you brought up, for anyone who wants to might be interested in starting a YouTube channel. So that's very nice of you to bring up and suggest to people.
And doing content like that, you don't have to put your face on camera. You can do content as a hobby, of your fish, your aquariums, and you can do voiceover. Because it just actually this past weekend on Saturday, I met a young boy. He's probably, I don't know, 10, 11. And he really wants to do it, but he's very scared to be on camera. I said, hey, I mean, this guy, this is a young boy. He's breeding fish. He's selling fish, of all sorts, from shrimp to plants, everything. He's selling.
Oh, wow.
I'm blown away at where he's at in the hobby versus me. I feel like he has packed me up.
That's crazy. And how old did you say he was?
Like 10 or 11.
Oh, wow. Good for him.
His parents are helping him out, but it's all on him. Anyways, so
that's good.
He actually really has his own channel name already. It's dope.
Okay.
He made it himself. It's really legit. I was like, wow. So I'd say
just think whenever he's older and has a lot of experience, he's going to be able to share that, with the whole world and everything. And just think of where he is now and where he's going to be like 10 years from now. Like, that's amazing.
Right. And he makes those 3D caves already. I was blown away at what he has put out. It's like, wow.
That's good. And even then, you can start podcasts, and even then, like you said, without camera and stuff. And I think that's a good way to start if you're nervous to be on cam, because that can help you kind of get a little bit more comfortable. I mean, only one way to do it, I guess, is to just try it and see what happens. Right. But that's good.
And here's a little really side note. If you struggle with stuttering a lot, which some of y'all probably don't realize it, back when I was young, I was horrible. But every time I would talk, I would stutter bad. Today, of course, today I do struggle with some, but it's not near as hard to deal with it. I've overcome it.
Yeah, and that's something you go by experience as well. It's something that as you get more comfortable and you get better at doing it, you start to feel more at home with, being comfortable being on camera and talking to people, and that helps.
Right.
So that's a good thing for you as well.
Here's something what you can do if you do content like this on a regular basis, and you get stressed out, or your anxiety builds up, or you get nervous, you get stage fright. Have something in your hand. For me, I have something that I play with. I got objects laying around here.
Now, bad thing. I mean, I'm always the only thing that I always have water down here because I have this room temperature controlled, so I'm always drinking water, and I always get parched when I'm down here on live stream. So that's one thing I always make sure to have.
A bottle cap is something that it helps me relax. It's kind of weird, but so
even just like this, like something like this, if you guys can see that, if you guys recognize that, got that from Ben Ochart, so I'll just be holding this, and I don't know, it's just like you said, it's almost like an ease of mind in case you do get a little stressed. So you always have something, to be able to help you with that. So
Now, but you mentioned
go ahead. Yeah, so I have looked into it. I'm trying to decide if I want to. I think the reason why I haven't pulled the trigger yet is because of the fact of I'm trying to make it work to where I can stay with my dad, because his boat's in Jupiter, but it's like 2.5 hours away. So I'm trying to decide within my work schedule and the flight schedule if it's going to be workable to go stay with my dad, because we were talking about the other day, or if I should just fly out for one day and go for a day and then come home, because I have a very small window between my off days and then my work days. Right. So that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. So it's still up in the air at the moment. I got to look more into it.
So the way it
like
sounds,
flights and stuff.
So the way it sounds, you will be there though.
The pressure is building.
Hey, I would love to meet you in person. It'd be awesome.
I agree. Yeah, I think I would love to meet a lot of the content creators out there, including you and anyone else who would go. But I'm not sure. Do you even know? Because I was on their website, and you might know more than I do. I don't know who's speaking that are like the higher content creators. Because all I saw was like past presenters. So do you know anyone who's got actually be there for sure?
I saw a list of them, but see, normally that don't affect me if I go or not. I'm going for the.
You just go for the
y'all.
experience.
Yeah.
Yep.
And to hang out with fellow content creators.
Yeah.
That's the reason I'm going.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the thought process that I'm going through my head as well, because I was kind of thinking, I was like, well, if certain people aren't going to be there, that shouldn't be the reason why I should go. I should go because I want to go, because of the whole entire experience in itself, and I've never done it before. So
right. And I'll be there.
That's where I should keep my mindset. Of course, that should be the reason I should go, right?
Exactly, 100%. I mean, it's a good vibe.
Absolutely.
And,
absolutely.
Probably out of the 3 Aquashellas, Daytona did become one of my favorite places to go.
Okay, so did you go to Chicago?
I haven't yet, but just watching the videos and stuff that people have gone, it hasn't hit home yet for me to go there yet. I might in the future, but I've been to Florida, I don't know how many times. Been to Dallas, I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
And Daytona, the reason that's kind of growing on me, because the beach is right there.
Okay.
The oceanfront.
Yeah, that's not bad. How many Aquashellas have you been to? Oh, he's got to count.
Is it
that's crazy?
7 or 8? I don't even know.
Oh wow, you're a regular then.
I guess. I probably tire them out. They see me coming. Oh no, not Vibes again.
Oh no, I've already seen him a few times. He's cornered me. No.
And Aquashella is kind of its own family, if you want to say it like that, because the same people come to those.
And even like when you first went to one, you somehow just felt like in a comfort zone that you didn't have to worry about, being nervous to talk to people. You were okay once you were there.
No, since you mentioned that, the first time going, I was very nervous going.
Okay.
Especially meeting people that I watched. This is back before. Hey, I had a channel, but with maybe two videos on or something.
Yep.
Nobody knew about. Anyways, I went to meet these people, right? So I was very nervous to meet. In my eyes, I consider them these celebrities, these high important people. But hey, y'all. Maybe now you're watching us or watching someone on YouTube or whatever. You think the high celebrities? They're not. They're like you and me. We're just regular people.
And that's kind of like where we were talking earlier. It's just like you just have to go there and just act like everyone's like we're regular people. And even Fish Nerd kind of agrees that any convention you go to is worth it. And that's why I want to highlight him. And Brandon says he's in Chicago for the week. Everyone recommend a Sweet Fish Store. I'm not familiar with Chicago. Sorry, my friend. June's always been a fan of Vibes. But
hey June, you have not seen me in person yet.
Yep. Jeff says something to keep in mind when attending any fish event. It is filled with like-minded people with the same interests. Fair enough.
Amen.
Makes sense. Well, I would have to agree with these comments. I think these are getting me closer and closer to my first Aquashella. Well, I'm trying to make it work out. So people are trying to convince me as well as you. So we'll see what I can figure out here.
Hey, buddy, hold on. I got something to show you.
Okay.
Since you mentioned about maybe coming.
Brandon says, bring some money. Nothing worse than not getting what you want. Maybe that would include, but not limited to, more fish tanks.
Oh yeah.
No, I don't know. There's always merchandise, so that would be definitely a thing to keep in mind. It makes it slightly easier.
Yep.
But go ahead, Mr. Eddie.
If you come, Joe, I
Ooh,
have
a
a koozie for
koozie.
you.
You have a koozie waiting for me then with my name
Yes.
on it. See, there we go. And now I can't say no, right?
Yeah, exactly. You don't have an option now, but to show up.
Uh-huh. That makes sense. He
Sign it, Vibes.
he says sign it.
Would that help, Joe? If I sign it, I can guarantee.
Permanent marker on the very bottom. I'd be like, oh geez, now I have to go.
Yep.
Can you buy a fish and take out on a plane? Says my mom.
Yes, you can. I've done hundreds of fish already.
Oh, and June says you got to take me out for tacos.
But the problem, the slight issue, June. I don't know of any good taco places in Florida. It had to be in Texas.
Unless you have to have like fish tacos, June, because you would have to like whenever I go to Florida, I have to have something seafood related just because of being in the area. Something fresh. Uh-oh. My wife just came in. She doesn't want any more fish. My wife says the answer is no. And no more fish.
Sorry, y'all. Sorry.
She snuck in at the very end, didn't she?
Yeah.
Sneaky, sneaky. No snakeheads.
Yeah. Yeah. So far, I have had one time at the airport. I had a little struggle with some of the TSA checkpoint employees, but I was patient. I told them what I had, and I was asking him, "Is there like a higher manager could show up? Look at it, And yeah, there was. So I had to wait half an hour or whatever. So some higher up TSA agent come up, looked at it, told me you're good to go. They actually asked me questions about the fish. Where's
That's
from?
crazy.
What is
was it like you had to carry it like on you? You couldn't like put it in your below.
With fish, you with anything like that, you have to carry on because they probably won't make it down below.
Yep. That I can't see that going well at all. So that makes sense. That's crazy.
And they have to hand check the bag because I don't know what would happen if they went through the scanner. I would not know. It'd probably kill them.
Yeah. I don't know. My wife says that I'll go and hang out with Vibes all weekend.
Woo! Yeah.
And June says if we don't go for tacos, and there's no eating at all. If I'm understanding that correctly.
Yeah,
and Fish Nerd says driving the wife crazy, one fish at a time. I think that's already happened, Fish Nerd.
Yes.
That's already done past. She does good though. Honestly, she really does. She takes care and feeds the fish whenever I'm working my busy schedule. So there's always room for more fish. Well, right now it's getting close, Jeff. I'm telling you right now, it's getting close. My wife says I have to feed them with our 2-year-old when Joe's work. It's a lot of work. It really is, and I can't thank her enough for taking care of everything for me when I'm busy. So,
right.
Brendan says he once brought a baby. I might butcher this. OALM and Olem. Does that sound about right to you, Eddie? Sorry, Brandon, but I don't know what that is. South California. Everyone gave me a look on the plane. I rode with that thing on my lap the entire time. So what? I might have to look that up real quick.
It's
Palm. Okay.
Palm.
I got it. Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And y'all, and also if you bring back plants on the plane to carry on, put them in something clear. That way the TSA agents can see what it is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And if you bring the fish back, give yourself another hour or whatever at the checkpoint, just in case.
Okay.
Because if you're under stress and they can see it, they probably will say, "Nope, you can't take it on board."
Yeah. Brent says, "Don't ask to take me out to barbecue." There's a history with that. I think I definitely we touched base on one of your live streams on that. I think.
Well, we have.
Yeah. And Flying Mouse says, "I did risk divorce for Sickles, but it was worth it." Oh boy.
Oh.
But yeah, it's interesting. Oh yeah, he remembers the barbecue fiasco, says June.
Yeah. Hey, I'm actually glad it happened. that we can look back at history and laugh about it. If that
Yep.
never happened, we wouldn't be talking about it right now.
That's all you can do is look back and laugh. I mean, it is what it is, right?
Uh-huh. But you know what though? Here's a secret. I took this certain guy to my local fish store, and he was blown away. So
Oh, geez.
yeah. So
Fish Nerd says some conventions offer a service to ship your fish back to you in a timely manner. So does Aquashella have that sort of service for you, or is that something you have to do on your own? Interesting question.
I mean, for me, I would never go that route because if I'm taking on carry on, it's free. I mean,
yep. Why not? You know, if there's something you want to take care of to make sure nothing happens to her, it's like a peace of mind sort of thing, you know, I guess. But very funny dinner.
Hey, Fish Nerd, come to Aquashella.
Wonder how far it is for him because I'm coming from Ohio, so it'll be. I'm trying to figure that all sorts out. But wonder where Fish Nerd's from.
I'm from Texas.
Okay, so how far is your flight? You think? Are you getting a straight flight?
Yeah, straight. That's all I fly anymore. It's a nonstop flight. It's like a 2-hour flight.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's probably about what I have. What I would have too if I had a nonstop flight.
Right. And by the way, Joe, if you go, you get to meet Mariah.
Okay. Who's
my
Mariah?
co-host.
Yeah, the one that's on your live streams.
Yeah, Milky. Yep.
Fantastic. Just that much more of a reason to go.
Yep.
Fish Nerds from Wisconsin just don't have time off available. I get it.
I planned for this way back in January already.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I was going to ask you too. Like, you get a hotel that's like that you just get off. Like, you don't get a hotel room at the Aquashella place, right? You just get another hotel or kind of nearby.
It depends. I've done both.
Okay.
Most times I'll get it way off site. That way I can get away from the crowd and relax, right?
Yep.
But this past Dallas, since local Austin offered me a room to share a room, you know, at the price, I said, okay, sure. For that price, I can't say no.
Yep.
Because it cost me at least that or more to stay down the street. So.
Yeah, I think I would like to go to the convention hotel because I would agree with June here, but you would have to get those tickets way in advance because I think there's like a slight discount if you get them early enough.
Yeah.
But they're all obviously out because it's way too close, you know.
Oh yeah.
You know, so, but anyways, Eddie, I want to go ahead and end this live stream for tonight. I'm trying to keep these live streams within an hour, you know, a little over an hour sort of thing, so that way everyone gets their hour in. So I appreciate you being on here. Everybody else, I appreciate you coming in and chatting with us and hanging out with us for a bit. June looks like it's going to be 3 months membership next week, so I appreciate it, June. So that's cool. And Fish Nerd being at the convention hotel can be fun, mostly for the room sales. But yes, thank you everyone for coming in. Again, thank you, Vibes Aquatics / Eddie, for coming in. I really appreciate you working between our schedules to get this live stream to work out. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
So we are going to end this live stream, and Eddie, we'll meet you backstage for a debrief, and then we'll go our separate ways.
All right.
So take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the Monday evening, and thank you for joining us too. It's been a good one tonight. So take care.